Hi, my name is Jim Prey, and this is the Jim Prey TV show, and we got a good show today. We got two guests. Guest number one is my friend Fred Mohr, who knows a lot about history. He should have been a history teacher, I think. So Fred, welcome to the show, and how are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
How come you never became a history teacher?
Well, no, I didn't come up with enough to really teach history, and I don't know if I would want to teach because I knew my mother did. It was a lot of work that she had to take home with her. So I enjoyed working in a factory because the work I did was just 8 hours of work. Now, sometimes it was 12 hours of work, but that would be if I volunteered for more and wanted to make more money. But when I left the factory, my work was done.
Okay, all right. Just thought I asked. Okay, guest number two. Very beautiful, very talented, very mysterious. Tera Murphy. So,
hello.
Tera, welcome to the show, and how are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well.
All right, and here's your big chance to promote anything you're acting in, or Tera Murphy. So.
Yes, I have two movies that should be coming out. One is called Givers of Death, or God for short, by Addison Henderson. It did premiere at the Transit Road Drive-In, but hopefully it will premiere in the actual theaters. And the other one I was in is called All of a Sudden, and it's a local film. It hasn't been in any festivals yet, but sometime this year. Givers of Death, on the other hand, was supposed to already have been out,
right,
but COVID kind of delayed all of those plans, so we're just kind of waiting for the theaters to open up again. I was a background extra in that one, but I also made the trailer, so you will recognize me, though. You'll see me walk through.
So you're going to have to tell us the date of the premiere so Fred and I can go to it and applaud.
Well, it did premiere at the Transit Road Drive-In, so it's actually been shown. It also was in, it was voted Best Screenplay in the on BET, the Black Film Awards.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not really sure of the schedule yet, but I do know it was bought by Sony Pictures, so look for Sony Pictures.
That's pretty good, then.
Yeah.
All right, what about your modeling gigs and your cosplay gigs?
I have an event coming up. It's a food drive with Buffalo's Best Batman at Walden Galleria Saturday, May 8th. And I think it starts at 4:30. I'll have to check the time for you. But you bring a donation, and it's free for anybody bringing a donation. And cosplayers, anybody in costume, is more than welcome. It's going to be in the parking lot near Macy's, Walden Galleria.
That's just a big charity event,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? Do you got any music videos or anything else?
Yes, I have a music video in the works. I should be filming Saturday, tentatively, with a local rapper, which I won't give his name out just yet. But he's got his own production company, and so I'll be like a backup girl, so like a dancer.
Okay, because I remember once I shot a music video, and it took 2 days to shoot it.
It can, yeah.
And it was like very, very time consuming. You had to go there very early while nobody was there, and it was very, very time consuming.
Mm-hmm. When I shot Givers of Death, we filmed over 2 days at like 2 o'clock in the morning at a bar in Buffalo. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, you got to shoot when nobody's there.
Yeah, but it was still a lot of fun. I enjoy it, so.
Okay, so this is the poetry part of the Jim Prey show, so I'm going to start out. I'm going to read a short poem about a pet cat I had, so
okay.
Let's hope you enjoy it. Here we go. Rover. My marvelous cat Rover is special. He puts a smile on my face every time I see him. All he asks for me is food and a place to sleep. All he ever needs is love, and that I gladly give him. All the pay I need comes shining through his eyes. I don't need a rocket scientist to help me figure this out. Paul McCartney once said that love doesn't come in a minute. Sometimes love doesn't come at all. All I know is when I'm in it, it isn't silly. It isn't silly at all. The love I have for my cat Rover isn't silly. So, Fred, what do you think of this poem about my pet cat?
Well, I think it's meaningful and it expresses your feeling toward him, and I think a feeling that most people who have good pets feel too.
Yeah. Does it remind you of any of your pet cats that you had?
Well, a little bit, yeah. I have a relationship with them. I like it if they play rough, and so like I know some people that have a cute cat with a black face, and she tends to bite a little bit. And my cat did that. I actually encouraged her to do it because she wasn't drawing blood; she was just playing.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of dogs and a lot of cats, when they play, will actually pretend to bite or bite, but will bite without breaking the skin, and that's how they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
And she would sometimes sit on the floor, and I'd tap her on the head, and she'd stand up and hiss and snarl and swat at me, but that was just play.
Well, the reason I called this cat Rover, because he sort of acted like a dog, because I used to take little pieces of paper, roll them up in a ball, throw them, and the cat used to fetch the pieces of paper, put them in his mouth, and bring them back to me, like a dog would do with a stick.
Yeah.
And he was he was the most friendliest guy. I remember once I was painting up on top of the roof of the house, and he was meowing at me, and I said, sorry, Rover, I got painting to do. So what he did, he went in the back of the house, he climbed this big fence, he hooked the gutter, and he actually walked on the roof and walked to where it was, and I had to pat him. And there was like people in the neighborhood that had dogs. They let them roam, and my parents believed in letting the cats outside. So this cat, to protect himself from the dogs, he would climb this fence, climb on the roof, and the dogs. One of the dogs I used to run, it was a big, huge dog. It looked like Lassie from the TV show Lassie. The dog would be barking at him from the ground, and the cat would be meowing on him from the roof. So he was a real cool cat, and it was sad. The day he died, he was sitting on his favorite chair on the side porch, and I went to go pet him, and I just noticed he was dead. Rigor mortis set in. He was all stiff, so I think he must have accidentally, sometimes people put stuff on their grass, or they put weed killer. I think he must have accidentally ingested something like that. But that's what my parents believe. They believe in no litter boxes, and just put the cat outside at night, and you would train the cat. If the cat's got to go to the bathroom, he just meow by the door, and you let him out. So Tara, any comments on the cat poem?
I was gonna say, is that why your cat's name has a dog's name, like Rover?
Rover, yeah.
I always thought of it more of it as a dog's name.
Yeah, but I'm saying, the reason I called him, I used the piece of paper, I should crunch him up, I should throw him, and he used to go get the piece of paper, put it in his mouth, and bring it back to me like a dog would retrieve a stick.
His name is pretty suitable.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask you, you did this post that it made me really angry, that people in apartments that have cats, they're getting charged a per month fee.
Yes. I don't think there's a cap or anything for that. So when the new company took over the apartment complex where I live, they started to charge a pet fee. I think the original owner, it was like one flat, I don't know, like $30 or something, and then that was fine. But yeah, it's like pet rent. So you're paying a fee to have the cat.
You would have to pay a fee per month?
Or dog, yeah.
Because I'm sort of thinking, it seems unfair, because I think when you rent an apartment, you got to pay a deposit when And that's for, like, say, any
You think
damage.
that would cover, yeah, the pet.
I mean, do they charge you a fee if you got a little fish in an aquarium?
No, just for, I think, any, like a cat or a dog. You're not supposed to have, like, aquariums because aquariums, I guess, have leaked to the downstairs.
Yeah.
But I think anything over 5 pounds or something, I don't know. Well, you're not supposed to have anything over 5 pounds, but, like, anything over 1 pound, like, a kitten or, a dog. So, like I said, my one neighbor owns a Rottweiler, and I don't think it's legal because the dog's pretty big.
Yeah.
But it's not too loud. But I feel bad for the dog because she never walks it. She just like shuts the leash in the door and just lets it sit outside for a little while. And it's a very short leash. I feel really bad. I wouldn't want to have a large pet in an apartment anyway. It's just too close. You're too close to your neighbors, and they can't really run free. But yeah, that's why I only have the one cat, really, because I'd have to pay more if I got another animal. Like if I wanted a dog or another cat, I'd have to pay extra.
I'm thinking, I don't have anything problem against dogs, but the only problem is I got attacked by some dangerous dogs in the past because the owners were. I mean, this one owner, he had this attitude. Well, these 2 pit bulls I got, they're not dangerous. I don't have to I don't have to fence them in or put. So I got attacked twice by them, and then once I got a cut in my stomach, and I had to sue the guy. And then I told the guy that you need to either put him on a leash or fence him in because somebody's going to get really seriously hurt.
It's going to be a little kid or something next time.
And then a few months later, my father, he just recovered. He got hit by a car and badly broke. And then he went through this long therapy, and then he was finally able to walk by himself. And he used to like to walk the streets for exercise. And he was walking by the house, and one of the pit bulls that attacked me attacked him, knocked him down, badly broke his hip, and then it shortened his life because the things they did for the hip surgery, the body rejected it.
Yeah, animals can be very territorial, so that's kind of a problem if you have animals, especially dogs, in an apartment that they're so close.
Yeah.
They think it's their territory, and you're like, I live here.
Well, I don't blame the dogs. I blame the owner. I mean,
it's how you train them too. Like if you train them to be mean, if you train them to be more territorial, like a lot of animals were used. I don't know, like sheep herders and stuff like that. They're just guard dogs, and they will attack if you come on their territory.
Well, I'm saying I was just walking out a public sidewalk, and these 2 pit bulls twice attacked me in there.
And the owner just let them.
And the owner's saying, "Oh, don't worry, they don't bite." And then I talked to the owner and said, "Hey, you need to either fence them in or put them on a leash because somebody could seriously hurt." And then that happens to my father.
Yeah.
So Fred, what do you think it's very unfair that if you rent an apartment, you got to pay a pet fee per month for owning a cat?
I don't know. It would depend on how much it was, and what their regular rent was.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's just my belief.
You would think it would be included. You would think that they would charge for my kids too. How many kids do you have? Well, let's check that out. I feel like my kids would probably do more damage than
that might be illegal, actually.
But it's just funny they can charge for an animal, but not for kids. But the kids would probably do more damage than the animal.
Yeah, I'm seeing that seems like a bad precedent. Yeah, what in the future are going to say? Oh yeah, every kid you own. That's $30 extra for months, just like a cat. And I'm just thinking, what's this world coming to? I mean,
there's really, I think that's a problem kind of everywhere with rent right now, though, is just there's no cap to what they can charge, and they'll just raise it every year just because they can,
You talk about them being territorial. My cat would come, and if I had a guest, she'd meow at the guest. And then after the guest petted her, she'd come over and sit next to me. And it was like a wife coming in and say, "Hi, I'm Fred's wife," and coming over and sitting next to me.
Hi, Laura.
Because the wife wants to be part of a conversation even if she doesn't participate in it. You know, you're visiting the two of us. Well, she was doing the same thing. "Hi, I'm Fred's cat." And she'd curl up next to me, meaning that you're actually visiting the two of us.
Yeah.
But one time something happened, and I had one friend come over, and she sat right next to me. The cat didn't like that. She got between us because
She was jealous.
she was supposed to be next to me. This woman was not supposed to be next to me.
Yeah, cats can be that way too. My cat is very much a talker. He's a snowshoe Siamese, so if I start talking on the phone, he thinks I'm talking to him. He'll just start meowing.
Well, they can get jealous of the phone too.
Yeah.
I knew one guy at work, and he knew somebody who had a cat that would actually answer the phone. If the phone rang, she'd push it off, and then she'd meow into the receiver.
Well, I'd say I agree with you with territorial. I mean, I remember one of the cats I had was small, and my uncle came with this big dog, and he came in the side door with this big ball, and this small cat, seen this dog come in, and this small cat just hissed and attacked the dog, and the dog ran away. And I'm thinking, man, that's a lot of guts. This dog was probably about 3 times the size of the cat.
Well, my one friend, my ex-wife, she had this one cat, which I later on gave to my friend because my wife had to go into a nursing home. But there was a guy that came over, and he wasn't behaving real bad, but he was getting a little bit bossy and rough. So the cat bit him.
Really?
Yeah, because he was getting rough with Kathy.
Oh.
No, me and her are together, and if you better treat her right. And so it was interesting. Usually people think a dog's being protective.
Yeah.
This
Cats
cat
can
was
be, too.
protective.
Yeah.
Cats are smaller typically.
But sometimes cats act like a dog because that's
Yeah.
what dogs do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
protective.
So Tara, you got a poem or song you want to read?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a couple that my late father wrote, and here's a picture.
Well, let's see if I can do this right. Otherwise, you might practice your karate on me.
Just put it down.
Oh,
There you
down.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's on the left if you're the viewer. Yeah.
Do you think this is good enough?
Yeah.
You could take a look at it if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see on the side.
Oh, you can see it on the side too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right. So why don't you read your 2, and then I'll read another poem.
Okay. This one, I had a better copy, but this is the original draft, so I'll read it as best as I can. I think he wrote this about my grandmother. It's called Mrs. Murphy's Wash. Let's see. By Terrence Murphy. When Mrs. Murphy's hang and wash, sweetness fills the air. Fresh picked roses, mixed by gosh, with me guardian angel's hair. Her secret drifted here from Devon. So the story goes. Signed by leprechauns from heaven. Sole use Murphy clothes. In olden times 'twas rock and flax below the waterfall. Skirts back then what's made of flax could end up as a shawl. If ye be wandering down our way, breathe deeply passing through. Be it washin' day, you won't believe it's true. Now lassies come and lassies go, but none can e'er compete when Mrs. Murphy's calico goes breezing down the street. And I think, yeah, that's the end.
Wow, that's a good poem. That would make a good song.
Thank you. I'm kind of wondering if that's what he was trying to do with that one.
What is it? Is a calico a pet?
It's a type of cloth. So.
Oh, so
I mean, I
is he
guess it
saying
could
that?
be.
Is he saying that the wind sometimes blew stuff from her laundry line?
Yes.
Well, it can be a kind of cat too.
It can be a cat. Yeah.
And usually I think it's a certain kind of coloring with a lot of colors in it.
Yeah.
I think only the female are calicos.
Usually you would use calico to make a dress.
But
Yeah.
that's got a really good flow to it. Did you ever think of making a song out of it and sing it?
I didn't, but I'm sure that might have been why he wrote it to begin with. He also wrote songs as well. He wrote a song. He co-wrote a song called "Lonesome Stranger," and it was sung by Hugo and Luigi. You can look it up on YouTube. It's there. But yeah, so he wrote songs and poems as well, and he was obviously a singer, so he might have been trying to write a song.
Yeah, because that had a really good flow. Okay, could you please read another one?
Yes, this one, I believe, was in the Buffalo News. He used to write little editorials, like letters to the editor and things like that. So this one's kind of relevant. The 105th Congress by Terence E. Murphy. Back to back, they faced the nation, orators of defecation, circumscribed by fabrication, bias by affiliation, jolly playtime legislation, puppets of our population, snappy suits, self-admiration, slinging mud for stimulation. Get real, they chant in syncopation, all encounter fornication, lies belong to population, unspoken by administration. Twisted words, insinuations commence with an investigation. A well-liked lifetime reputation torn apart by allegation. Hypocrisy plus condemnation, judging others by vocation. Nursery school discrimination. Oh hell, adjourned. End.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. It's very witty, and it's sort of like
Yeah, he had a sense of humor.
tells what it's sort of like
Not much has changed.
Yeah, not much has changed, and our political system is such a mess.
Yeah. Interesting side note. His father, my grandfather, was an attorney, Edward Murphy, and he was nominated for a seat in Congress, but he ended up turning down. He felt that he was too old and he wanted to spend the rest of his life with his family. So he may have been inspired by my grandfather, his father, being that his father was in law, and so was Mrs. Murphy. Mrs. Murphy was also an attorney, so that may have been the inspiration for that one.
But I liked it. I liked both of them. So your father was a pretty good writer. Did he ever write books?
I didn't see any books in the stack of manuscripts, but I have yet to read all of the short stories, and in all these folders that I inherited were also rejection letters from various magazines turning him down. So he never stopped writing. He just kept resubmitting to another magazine or a paper, and he was consistently turned down for his writings, but they're actually quite good. So.
Right. But I'm saying it takes time. Like,
yeah.
I never got published by anything big, but I got published by some small magazines and that. But nothing ever. It's so competitive, and it's just so hard.
Right. Yeah, his stories were never published, but I think this one I have somewhere. It's a little newspaper clipping, and some other little editorials of where he states his opinion on things. So he was published, I believe it was the Buffalo News, although there was another paper back then, I just can't think of what it was. I believe it was the Buffalo News, though, and he had his own little kind of column, which is really only a paragraph. But, so he got published that way, but never for his stories and poems, which are, like I said, were actually quite good.
But I'm saying it's a lot of writers and even songwriters, they don't get recognized till they die.
Yeah.
Like I think, was it Emily? Would have been Emily Dickinson. Maybe didn't get recognized till she died.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So Fred, any comments on that poem?
No, don't have one. No.
Okay, so it's my turn. So this poem, this is a tribute to my mother, and my sadness when my mother died. I loved her a lot. It sort of helped me write this poem. So I hope you like it. Letter to Heaven. Mom, you passed away on January 7th, 2018, and I am still very sad about this. Thank you, Mom, for teaching me right from wrong. I still miss my mom a lot because my mom was a great mother. My mom worked hard and spent a lot of time with me, and she sacrificed a lot for me. Those who knew my mom would strongly agree with me. There is still a hole in my soul right now, but my mom wants me to keep trying my best every day. I need to try to make my mom proud by living a good life. Mom, don't worry about me. I will find a way to deal with the sadness, and I will also find a way to do the things I need to do. So, Fred, what do you think about that poem?
Well, it's nice. It's very positive, and you're kind of promising to live the life that she would want you to live, and she would want you to be happy and have a purposeful life. It's a nice song.
Yeah. So, Tara, what do you think about it?
Well, as a mother, I think she would have appreciated that.
And it's like it was sort of like my mom used to always say this to me while she was alive, and I thought, oh my God, why do you say this? She used to always just say, oh, you'll really appreciate me a lot when I'm dead. I said, Ma, stop saying this. You're alive. You're in very good health. Stop saying that. I don't want to hear this anymore. But she was right. And when I get sad thinking about my mother, like today I was sad thinking about my mother. One of my things my mother liked a lot, she liked polka music, and she liked at weddings dancing to polka songs. Like when I get sad and about my mother, I got cassette tapes of polka music, like Pennsylvania polka, who stole the Kishka, and songs like that. Roll out the barrel, we'll have a barrel of fun. So that's sort of what I do to try to get over the sadness about my mother. So I don't know. So I mean, you probably can understand because you're a mother, and you know how hard a job it is, and you know how tough it is. It seems to me you got two very good daughters, and sometimes you got to exercise tough love on them, and that's got to be one of the hardest things that a mother could do.
Yep, it's kind of like invisible work. So, and I know once they're out of the house or further on down the road, maybe when they have their own kids, they'll be like, "Wow, my mother really did a lot for me." They don't really appreciate it. I think, especially teenagers, they just want like more. It's just, I don't know. It's just the age that they're at. But yeah. Both my birth parents passed away really close to each other. My mother passed away first, and then my father's mother passed away, and then my father passed away. So I think he passed away kind of like from a broken heart type of thing. And you really don't even though they didn't raise me, I still visited them quite often. And it's like you really don't know your own parents' smell until it's like gone. And then it's like you'll never get to hug them again. It's just stuff you take for granted that other people don't even maybe notice. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, one of the things I miss a lot about my mother, she was a very good cook.
Yeah.
And she took the time, like when she made spaghetti, she would take the time to make her own special spaghetti sauce, her own special meatballs. And I miss that. And I'm trying to find a restaurant that has spaghetti similar to that, but I haven't found one. Yeah. And she also was very good at making French toast and pancakes and kielbasa and eggs, and she was good at making pork chops. She had her own special way of coating them, and she was good at making spare ribs and sauerkraut.
Wow.
And she was very good at making głąbki, or people call it pigs on a blanket,
Oh.
and pierogi and all the Polish stuff. So.
Yeah.
And then it was, when I lived, she liked Polish music. So when I'm sitting in my bedroom, or I would just hear a lot of Polish. And like a lot of the stuff, she knew Polish, but I didn't. There were songs, they sing it in Polish, but, I didn't, it's catchy with the accordion and that. And so and I enjoyed it because I knew how much joy it gave my mother. Even though there was, I didn't know Polish. I didn't even know what the hell they were singing about. So, you got any other poems you want to read?
No, that's it.
All right, here's the one that's a tribute to my father. Like it's Mother's Day, May 9th. You should tell your two daughters that. Hint, hint, hint.
Hint, hint. I want breakfast in bed.
Yeah. And Father's birthday is May 25th. So this is my tribute to my father, and wow, it's long. So I hope I don't put you to sleep, but I'll try.
Yeah, I have more. I just haven't read through.
Oh, so you just
Not with me.
You're just not. Oh, you got
But I
more.
haven't even read yet, like stacks and stacks.
Oh, okay. So all right.
He never gave up.
All right. So I'll just read this one, and we'll have commentary from both of you, and then we'll got roundtable discussion. I got questions.
Okay.
All right. So here's the poem. Letter to God. It occurs to me as I'm sitting here thinking of my dad that I still miss playing basketball and baseball and talking about sports with my dad a lot. My dad died on August 26, 2018, and I still wish he would rise from the dead like Lazarus did. My father was my hero when I was very young. When my dad was in a hot hitting streak when he played baseball, I felt great. When my dad slumped at the plate or got hurt playing baseball, I felt very bad for him. When I played baseball, I tried to crease my baseball cap like my dad did. I would kneel in the on-deck circle like my dad did, and I would run like my dad, my head up and with long strides. Thank you, Dad, for teaching me to love sports. My dad spent a lot of time with me teaching me the right way to play baseball, basketball, and other sports, even though he was very tired from enduring a tough work day at National Fuel Gas. I just hope that God has a special place in heaven for my dad, where my dad can run again, his head up and with long strides after he gets a hit in a baseball game. I hope in this special place in heaven, my dad is shooting a hook shot and joking with his basketball teammates and smiling that friendly smile of his. God knows there is something special about heroes, and God must know that my dad was a very special hero to me. So Fred, what do you think about that poem?
It's a very good poem, and you express your love for your father in it, and it was nice, and that you learned sports from and so forth.
Yeah, and I tried to crease my baseball hat like my dad and run like him, head up, long strides. You got any special memories about your father or mother?
Well, yeah, my father I enjoyed talking to him and stuff, and I tended to look up to him, and my parents, I knew they loved me. Some parents don't love their children, and that was a positive, and so that's, that would, so,
Okay, so Tara, any comments on the poem?
I was just saying, it's kind of like from a child's perspective, you can kind of picture you like literally looking up to your dad, and
yeah, because I'm saying that this was it with my father. Like I think I was like 4 or 5, and he took me to like his baseball games, his basketball games, and his football games. And then I grew up watching him, and he was like my hero. And I remember. Father gets up to the plate. I'm praying that he hits a home run, and it was like it was like a special time growing up. He was my hero to me, and he would come home, like say he was a laborer. He dug ditches and did hard work for National Fuel Gas, and he would come home from work tired about 4 or 5 o'clock, and he would take me to the park and throw the baseball around me and pitch to me and practice hitting, and then we'd sometimes go to the basketball courts and shoot baskets. So he spent a lot of time for me when he was dead tired from working, and I'm saying I appreciate my parents. I mean, it's so hard to be a parent that I think if you're a child, I think you should appreciate if a parent tries their best, because there's no perfect parents. If a parent tries their best, I think the children should appreciate them, because it's such a tough job that there's no way in hell you can be perfect.
I agree.
You got any special memories with your father or mother, Tara?
My birth parents didn't raise me, but they sure as heck tried. My mother would call me on the phone, and I always got a card or a letter in the mail for my birthday or Christmas, and it would have like stickers all over it.
Right.
So they still try to connect, and I remember I distinctly remember them telling me you better be good, you better behave. So that still, I don't know, as a kid I was like, oh, I better behave. I better be extra good, because they're going to be calling and checking on me and making sure I'm good. So I think that still have, even the smallest little things you remember, and it still had an impact on my behavior as a kid. I was known as the good kid. I was I wasn't perfect, but I was very well behaved.
And I sort of remember this too, that I think I was about 6. And my father, I wanted to make my father proud by doing good in baseball and sports. And I remember it was raining outside, and I used to throw, I think it was a softball, on the roof. The roof was tilted like a triangle, and then you would catch it. And I remember I got the softball in my hand, and when I threw it, it slipped, and I broke a window.
Oh no.
And I was just, I sort of was scared. And I sort of ran away, and then my mother eventually found me, and they were cool about it. They didn't even punish me at all. They just said, "Okay, we understand. You're trying to make us proud, because I think some parents would have hit the kids or that, but they just said." I just sort of remember that, and I sort of was lucky. It was just a cheap $5 window, so I was sort of lucky. And then I think my brother and mother were in the kitchen, and luckily none of them got hurt.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I remember, and yeah. And then another thing, when you mentioned that thing about they're charging for pets, I think of this song. I don't know who wrote this song where they mention corporations are only playing corporation games. That sort of reminds me of that corporation. I don't know who wrote the song. I think the song, one of the lines, "We built this city on rock and roll." It sort of reminds me, it was sad. My sister died a lot earlier than she should have. She died from baby powder from Johnson & Johnson.
Oh, wow.
And they're still selling this stuff because they make a ton of money on it, but it's cancerous. It causes ovarian cancer. So, all right. Next part of the show, roundtable questions. Okay, Fred. First question, favorite pet?
Well, I would say of all of them, the one that I did have the longest would be probably Grace.
But you would say cats, right?
Yeah, would be cats and stuff. And I think too that some animals, I think animals have a good sense of humor, and that's when they play. They understood when they're playing rough. It's just a joke. And I remember one time we had a cat, and my wife was smoking cigarettes. And so the cat noticed that, because they notice things.
Yeah.
So he knew that she liked the cigarettes in the pack, because she kept pulling them out and puffing on them. So he went over, and when he saw his chance, he grabbed the pack of cigarettes and ran off with it. And then she got up and and she's chasing him. So he could outrun her, but he just slows down. He lets her catch up with him, and he lets her have the cigarette pack back. But he just did that for the fun of it, and he was able to figure out, well, she wants that, so I'll just go over and take it from her. And then, then he let her have it back. He was just doing that for the fun of it.
Or they sometimes just do it like for intention. Like, say, if I'm writing a paper, a cat comes by, grabs the paper and runs, and I'm thinking, hey, I got to get this done. I got to hand this in. What the hell you doing?
Yeah.
So, favorite pet?
Yeah, cats. I had a cat when I was younger. He was a stray, and I think my dad that raised me anyway, he was a construction worker, and he found a box of kittens like under a porch or something. So he brought home this cat and made my mother mad. And but anyway, we got to keep him, and his name was Smokey. And Smokey used to sit in my bed at the end of my bed by my feet every night. So that was like, even though he's everybody's cat, he was my cat.
Yeah.
So I still have a cat.
Okay, so my favorite pet is a cat, and it would be this cat Rover because he acted like a dog. And I remember one time, he almost really hurt himself. He went in the dryer when the dryer was off, and there was all these towels in there, and he said, "Oh, dryer door's open. This is a nice place to sleep." So he went in there. My mother didn't know this cat Rover was in there. She closes the door, turns the dryer on, it's spinning around, and he hears the cat with this weird meow, and then quickly shuts it off. And luckily, the cat was okay because there was a ton of towels in it. All right, Fred. Second question: favorite food?
Well, I used to like to make spaghetti, but I like to put a lot of vegetables, Prego in it and stuff. I like to make it the way my parents would make it, but then it had the Prego and everything else, but then I'd grate about that much cheddar cheese on top, which isn't very healthy, but it would make it very, very, very delicious.
Yeah.
And I also liked, I like breaded pork chops when they're made the right way, too.
And you still have a lot of parties at your house. Did you just get...
Well, I guess I don't know. I slowed down more than I should have, so I'm kind of embarrassed by that, because when I retired, I should have done more stuff. Instead, I did less stuff, so I feel somewhat responsible for not having thrown parties for people I should have.
Yeah, because I remember you had a real cool house. You had this cool gun collection and all, and you had this nice cat and everything else.
Yeah, well, and the basement was nice because I had this thing where I could turn the furnace fan on and have it run even when the furnace didn't. And so that circulated the air through the house. So it kept when I had guests over, it kept the basement where I had the people sitting at the same temperature as the upstairs. If you don't do that, all the heat will go upstairs.
Right. Okay, Tara, favorite food?
Lately I'm a chicken and fish kind of person, but I'd say when I was younger and I could actually have dairy, macaroni and cheese, but it has to be white cheddar with like the breadcrumbs on top like my grandma makes.
Really?
Yeah. Like she made it for like only like special occasions like Easter or Christmas or something.
But you can't have that anymore?
No, not anymore, but it's really, really good. But she would make it from scratch. And make the sauce and everything herself.
And you said chicken and what else?
Like usually like I'll eat like chicken or fish for dinner. I don't know, like salmon or.
Yeah. Do you like the fish fries?
Yes.
Because we used to go. Fred and I used to go to Wheat Checks. They used to have the best fish fry, and other people. Have you ever went there?
It's debatable. This is a hot debate. Just so you know. No, I've never been there.
Oh, never been there.
But everyone swears they know where the best fish fry is.
Who do you think has the best fish fry?
You know, actually, it's gonna sound weird, but Tops make when I had Tops fish fry, like the grocery store, it was actually really good. But I don't know if they still do that anymore, but also J.P. Fitzgerald's. I like going there.
Oh,
And it's in Hamburg.
So I have to try a Tops. I never tried a Tops fish fry.
Yeah, it's like a takeout. It's pretty good.
If you go to the Olive Tree restaurant in Lancaster has a good one. The Olive Branch might have one too because they're owned by the same people, but you can't guarantee it. But the Olive Tree has a very good fish fry, and they give you a lot of stuff with it.
Really?
So it's more than all I can eat, and they have a pretty good fish fry. But another thing too, all that Polish food that you like,
Yeah.
a lot of that rings a bell. I would have loved to go in and eat at your place when your mother was cooking, because all the stuff you mentioned was the kind of stuff I like.
So you like gołąbki and pierogies and kielbasa and eggs and all this stuff.
Well,
Huh?
a lot of that stuff, well, like the pork chops and the spaghetti and meat and not spaghetti, sauerkraut and meat and a lot of that stuff in general would be stuff I would eat.
And I
It's a buffalo thing.
I used to remember that my mother, like for Easter, she used to like to make the kielbasa, the pierogies, and all. Used to like to make all the apple pie, lemon pie, all the pies, and she loved to. And she would have the whole family over, and she would do that for Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, and that's something I miss because
I have a friend, and she knows a guy who has a lot of money, but he doesn't share it much with people. He more or less goes on cruises and always vacations somewhere and goes on trips. And he doesn't have parties for other people, but he goes out and buys food, and he has food. And so she goes into his place, and he's got these pies and cakes all over the place. Mm-hmm. And he does eat them, and the guy's over 300 pounds.
oh my God. All right, so my favorite food, I would have to say, my mother's homemade spaghetti a Thai with her homemade pizza. That's what I would say. But trying to find her homemade spaghetti in a restaurant and her homemade pizza in a restaurant, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Well, you know the Spaghetti Warehouse.
Yeah.
They had excellent lasagna, and then sometimes they supplemented with a great big sausage, which was a good deal. I'm sorry we lost them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
I remember going there when I was little.
Okay.
A long time ago.
Third question. Fred, what's your favorite sport?
Well, see, I don't care for something that is too fast moving, so I guess I don't watch hockey and basketball much. I do like baseball because I find it interesting, but it's more slow moving. And because of the action in it, I do like some of the football games. I watch the, if I get a chance, I'll watch the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it gets interesting because if Tom Brady gets to the Super Bowl again, that'll be interesting because he's got to wind up with a record nobody else will be able to equal.
Yeah, I think he's got something 7-8 Super Bowl wins. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 7 now. If he can win this and the other one, oh my goodness, he's going to have won 3 with the Bucks, and who knows? Who knows what he might wind up with? It should be interesting to watch.
Okay, Tara, favorite sport?
Well, I used to figure skate when I was younger, and I think it's still my favorite sport. Although I also have done Taekwondo, and I had to stop because of some breathing issues, but it's amazing at what some of the samurais and the black belts can do. It's not just fun to do, it's fun to watch them do as well.
Right. So I was watching these figure skating movies. It seems like figure skating movies are pretty popular. Did you ever watch any of them?
Yeah, when I was younger, and there was a couple of them. I think one was based on Peggy Fleming that I watched. Dorothy Hamill.
When you start to get in the Olympics, you have to, for every time you actually perform, you have to do 4 times as much practicing. And when you start to get up into those triple things and the quadruple things, you're getting into something where you can seriously injure yourself. And when you start to get at the level of these top figure skaters, there's a lot of injuries. A lot of injuries. It's an easy sport to get hurt in.
Yeah.
Most people think about it as like the level of hockey or something, but yeah, I've seen a couple girls, like there was one time where the rink was crowded and one girl got cut on the face from somebody else's skate, because it's a blade, but people think of it as an actual it was an actual blade. I was actually pretty tall for a figure skater and a little bit old for a figure skater. I was like between 11 and 16, and the day I quit is the day I landed my axle, and it was only a single axle, but I landed it. So I can honestly say I landed my axle.
So you must be amazed where you see some of these do like triple axles.
Yeah, I'm like, I know that jump. I know that, like, I could name the jumps and spins and stuff like that. But yeah, the backflips and the quadruples, I don't know. They practice off the ice for those too, though. They'll like be in their sneakers and doing jumps and spins, and you really have to eat, live, and breathe figure skating. I did a couple competitions, amateur, when I was younger, and it was pretty dominated by the Canadians. And the Canadians that were wealthier and could be in each event, they tended to win more. I think they just had more ice time and more money to throw at it,
Well, it seems like the Canadians and the Russians, they dominate the figure skating and the hockey because it's practically all year round they skate, and they actually, if you live in a cold enough place, they actually
ice year round
skate to school and back, and it's just like
they had one French skater who was black, and
Surya,
she was going to become a professional, and so she wasn't going to finish near the top, and she knew that the TVs was only going to show the top 3. They're not going to show everybody. But what she did was, she did a backflip, which was forbidden in the Olympic, and then when she bowed facing the audience with her back to the judges. And so that was a deliberate snub on the judges. And one of the reasons why that was smart is when she did that, they showed it on all the TV programs. So that, in a sense, was popular with the people when they saw that, which helped her when she became a professional, because she had, all of a sudden they're showing her snubbing the judges, which in that case, it was a smart move on her part.
Yeah, maybe not so much with the technical side of things, but yeah, to get the sponsors and the fame, right?
Yeah. So I'd say my favorite sport to play was baseball, because my father's favorite, that was his favorite sport. He was the best at baseball, and he showed me his tricks and trades, so that was the one I did the best in, and I made some all-star teams, and I played with some really good players that were drafted 5th by the Yankees and all this, guys that actually played pro ball.
Wow.
But I also like playing tennis, basketball, football, bowling, hockey, and the other sports. But
I did have a basketball hoop in my yard, and at one point I was the tallest out of my siblings, but they've surpassed me, But it was kind of fun being the tallest.
That's what basketball. I thought you would say, basketball, because you're pretty tall.
It's been a little while since I've played basketball, but it was fun when I was like 12, 13, and I was taller than everybody else.
Yeah. And then probably the favorite sport to watch is football, and because father brought me up to be a big Bills fan, and he took me to games, so And plus, they're doing really good now. They could
They
actually
are.
make the Super Bowl and actually win it. So,
I heard they were practicing fireworks up there.
yeah. But I think my father, when I was about 5, he took me to the Bills games, and he threw the football around with me. So, and we didn't have no like pro baseball team, so that's what we had. We had pro football, hockey, and we had pro basketball, and then we lost the basketball. So,
Yeah.
I was watching one important baseball game, and I think this was an African American player that played for the Yankees. And the first baseman had an out, but he wanted a double play. So he threw the double play. And this guy that was out, when he threw the double play, the ball hit the guy's leg. And that meant it went in the dugout, and so everybody advanced. The people who weren't out advanced like 2 bases. I think that helped score a run or two. And it made a difference in the game.
well, that was a famous World Series where Reggie Jackson purposely stuck his leg out.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you're supposed to be automatically out, and everybody's not allowed to vest. But he got away with it.
The problem it was at that time, the judges couldn't use replays.
Yeah.
So even though the people filming it did a replay, which proved that Reggie Jackson deliberately
Yeah.
did the ball, and if they had known that he deliberately did it, then not only would he been out, one of the other members of his team would have been out. But the point of it is that they only knew it once the people filming for the audience did the replay. But at that time, the officials, the umpires, couldn't use a replay. So even though the replay showed he did that, they would have had to catch it before the replay showed. And since they didn't, he got away with it.
Yeah, he got away with it. Okay. All right, next question. Fred, what's your favorite historical person?
Well, let me see. It's something. Of the founding fathers, I like Ben Franklin. Of some of the presidents, I really admire Truman.
Truman, yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people put him down and stuff.
Give him hell, Harry.
But he did a lot, and he actually come out in favor of civil rights at a time when it was unpopular in the Democratic Party. So once he did that, everybody thought it was certain he was going to lose, and he didn't. I admire him. Then I'm trying to think of some others,
Okay, hold your thought. Okay, we got little time, so we'll go with Tera. Who's your favorite historical person?
Joan of Arc.
Joan of Arc, very courageous. Yeah. All right, my favorite historical person, I would have to say, was Ben Franklin, because I remember I won a essay contest in grammar school. I wrote a paper about him, and he invented all this stuff, bifocals, Franklin stove, and he actually went to France when he was very sickly and got France to help us in our war for independence. I don't think if France would have helped us, I don't think we would have won. So what else were you going to say about historical figures, Fred?
I don't know, but it seems we both picked Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin. Well, look at all the stuff he invented.
And he was he was everything. He was an editor. He was this. He was that. Wasn't he kind of a pacifist too? Didn't he? What was his opinion about the wars with the Indians and stuff?
I forget, but I remember that one of his sons that he didn't agree with, that he actually had a son that was actually a Tory.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know all the details, but
That scared me.
it's over. Well, that was a good show. You got to do that so Richard can hear when the show ended.